First at 4, police say an Oakland County cleaning lady was cleaning up and cleaning out her clients. We'll talk about $500,000 in stolen goods. Also, COVID vaccines in nursing homes. The state is taking new action to protect many of Michigan's senior citizens. Plus, here's Paul.
Hey, Karen, it has been a very cold day with a few flakes flying around, and we have a very cold night ahead. In fact, some of us are going to be near zero tomorrow morning. I'll have your straight ahead forecast in just a few minutes.
I call it creative COVID stress relief. Today, a look at the path to coping through play. How on earth will this turn out? No pressure, as I take you inside my messy kitchen/ceramic studio for a new adventure.
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
Good afternoon. I'm Karen Drew, and we're going to start with that breaking news. First at 4, Detroit police just announced charges in the case of a missing woman. Now, earlier this week, we told you about human remains found in this home on Vaughn Street on the city's west side. Latima Warren had been reported missing back in December. Today, Rondell Waters has been charged with homicide and a few other charges, including evidence tampering. Detroit police just tweeted the update, saying their hearts go out to Warren's family. Also, first at 4, it is the kind of crime that makes anyone who has workers into their home feel a little less secure. West Bloomfield police have arrested a cleaning lady for stealing money and luxury items. The investigation started when detectives say Beata Tarnaaska admitted to one employer that she stole a luxury watch. Now the housekeeper is accused of stealing more than $500,000 in cash, coins, and jewelry while working at private homes throughout Oakland County. Tonight at 6, one victim talks about the shock, the betrayal, and what apparently happened to some family heirlooms that can never be replaced. Ever since the COVID-19 pandemic began, the safety of nursing homes has been a key concern. Today, state officials face questions about their early response. But first, we do have a new epidemic order from the Department of Health and Human Services. It says nursing homes must offer on-site doses of COVID-19 vaccines to residents who are not up to date as of today. The deadline to get residents vaccinated is 30 days from today. Residents can refuse to be vaccinated, but nursing homes must document each patient's decision. State lawmakers met today in Lansing to review an Auditor General's report on nursing home deaths due to COVID-19. The report found about 2,400 more deaths from what was reported by the state. We've been telling you how those numbers are being debated. The state's top health official, Dr. Elizabeth Hertel, testified she has concerns with the audit's methodology as well as conclusions.
One of the major flaws of the Auditor General's report, and something that is clearly misleading, is the application of definitions that do not align with federal and state statutory and regulatory requirements and appear to have no basis in these or any other standards. While differences in the public perceptions of what a long-term care facility or nursing home are, state and federal regulations are crystal clear, and we welcome opportunities to engage in conversations.
The Auditor General's report counted COVID deaths in nursing homes from January 1st, 2020 to July 1st of 2021. All right, we did tell you, the bitter cold is making a comeback, and you can feel it in the air outside. It is going to get even colder later tonight. For the latest, let's send it over to Paul Gross for a peek ahead. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Karen, but by the way, soccer mom, do you have any more games you have to be at out there?
I go to a lot of games. They're never outdoors, though. I don't want to mislead folks.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's rough when you have to pack up the kids, at 7 a.m.
Okay, I get that. I just wanted to make sure, because this is cold stuff we have coming in tonight. Right now, it's cold. We have temps in the teens. Wind chills are in the single digits, so it is a very cold day out there. And we've had these very tiny little snow showers coming down. Most of those have been flurries. A couple of them have been briefly robust, but again, very brief, so we haven't really seen much in the way of accumulation today. It's just been snowflakes for effect. We'll just call it that. In any event, through the evening hours, we're going to see temperatures falling through the teens into the low teens, and we're going to be well down into the single digits by tomorrow morning. I'll have your complete forecast, including our snow chances. Again, we may need those shovels. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, Karen.
Right. Thank you very much, Paul. A Senate showdown over voting rights went exactly as predicted. Now, that leaves American voters to consider their next steps in choosing how democracy will look in future elections. Kimberly Gill joins us with a look at what's on the line for really all of us to consider, Kim.
Hi, Karen. Good afternoon. President Joe Biden spent the last week pushing hard for two bills he says would protect the right to vote for millions of Americans. Thanks to two fellow Democrats, though, those bills failed to make it out of the U.S. Senate. Last night, Republicans blocked the legislation by a vote of 51 to 49. Democrats needed 60 votes to move forward. Then a proposal to change Senate filibuster rules also failed after Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema refused to side with fellow Democrats. The new legislation would have done things such as protect automatic voter registration, voting by mail, and would have loosened voter ID laws. Supporters say they're fighting against a wave of voting restrictions passed in 19 states. They say those restrictions make it harder for Black Americans and others to vote. The mostly Republicans supporting those state bills say they're trying to make elections more secure, even though there's no evidence of widespread fraud. In Michigan, you might remember Governor Whitmer has vetoed Republican bills critics say would have restricted access to the polls. Republicans are now collecting signatures for a ballot drive to tighten voter ID and absentee voting requirements. So, Karen, this is going to be an issue we're watching here in Michigan and across the nation for quite a while. We'll, of course, keep you posted. Until then, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right. Thank you, Kim.
Sure.
Well, you could call this creative COVID stress relief. It's been a tough 2 years and counting for many of us. So what are you doing to feed your soul and also cope? Today, we start a new online series for WDIV Insiders. Paula Tubman is standing by live to give us a preview and show us how she found her own kind of therapy. You know, I follow you on social media, Paula, and I've been following your travels, and I'm really interested to see how this started and how it's been helping you.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, I call it ugly ceramics. This is really going to be a lot of fun. And I really hope a lot of people join me on this journey and share your own journeys as we really work together to try to stay sane, emotionally healthy, and centered. For me, well, it's this. It's clay.
Got stress? Get clayed. That's how I chose to deal with the isolation and strain of covering a pandemic for TV news. I call it my COVID Claycation Stress Management Program. What I discovered as a whim was a sense of deep peace and even joy every time I touched clay. And I want to share with you how I use creativity to stay mentally fit and emotionally healthy at a time when everything hurts as a journalist, in hopes I can inspire and be inspired when you reach back and tell me your stories of how you're creatively coping with COVID. To challenge myself, I took on a gigantic project for a beginner, creating a ceramic fireplace surround.
Then I can do things to clean it up.
Emily Barr is the president and CEO of Graham Media, the parent company of Local 4. She manages a total of 7 stations and 2 digital media entities. She sees the heavy lift to cope every single day.
We're dealing with a lot of layers of stress that are kind of new, and I think COVID put it all over the top.
And it's through that unique perspective she sees the need to find relief from stressful times, however you can get it, whether you're a reporter, producer, photographer, assignment editor, butcher, baker, candlestick maker.
We're not the only ones, journalists aren't the only ones feeling the stress. I think the whole world is feeling the stress. We just have to report on it, and we have to come out and put that camera and microphone in front of people's faces and say, how you feeling? You know, and that's a hard thing to do over and over again. Each time you do that, it takes a little bit out of you. So you need to find a way to refill your own bucket.
And so we begin a 4-part series for WDIV Insiders from my messy kitchen / ceramic studio. It's part survival story to become singularly focused on something other than the trauma and grief and work. Part love story and part do-it-yourself how-to for a pretty daunting art therapy project. Okay, so this is actually one of my ugly ceramic face vases. For some reason, I love eyes and I love noses. So I want to go back to that fireplace around, Karen, because that's going to be our big project. And it's not done yet. So we haven't done the installation, no pressure, because I promised my husband, it's fine.
This is going to look great. But now that we decided to do this so everybody can see it, the pressure is really on to make it work. So I hope you'll join us as a Local 4 Insider and follow the 4-part series. Karen?
I am so excited to see this. So you haven't started the installation yet, but we can look forward to that. I just have a question like, okay, so you're doing this in your kitchen. Does that mean you have to clean up and put back every day? Because that would cause me stress. How do you do that?
Okay, great question. And you know what? Honestly, if you like clay in your food, you're just fine. So, just kind of push it aside and you know what? My family's used to me. I'm not a great housekeeper, so they're okay with it.
I like that. I really do. You inspired me too. I appreciate it, Paulo. I'm looking forward really looking forward to the series. So if you all are interested, you can watch Paula searching for her ceramics Zen online at clickondetroit.com. Now, items can move around, so you might have to scroll down, but our producer did find it a little bit farther down on the homepage. You'll also have to become a WDIV insider to watch the series, but it's super duper easy. And also, it's really interesting, and it's a very personal story from Paula, and I think it can help us all kind of deal with stress. First episode is online right now with a new one released each Friday for the next 3 weeks. We sure hope you join.